I got it right when I got home. It was the email. Yeah.
Nice.
We were working on that for hours. I was.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
I've heard a lot of it. You know.
I'm sure. I know what that's like.
Cher was at school till
Right.
last night. To try to get ready.
Nice.
Parking lot, the carpool, security.
Yeah, I'm sure. Okay, my friends, here we go. Now, the story is that it's basically impossible to go over all these questions. So I'm just going to kind of randomly wander along, and if you have any specific things you want to ask, feel free to ask them. Otherwise, the format of the shir is going to be, I'm going to ask you questions, and you're going to tell me answers. But if you need to ask me questions, feel free to do that as well. Okay.
If you're asking us which questions, so you know which one is.
Why do you have to see it? You hear it. Teresh Bal Peh.
We know which one we went to.
I'm not covering everything. Okay, let's do some definitions. What is a psik resha? Tagid. Psik resha.
Something, an inevitable consequence.
Correct, an inevitable consequence. That's correct.
Repeat because I cannot hear.
A psik resha is a thing that you don't want to happen, but it's for sure going to happen. A malacha that you don't want to happen, what will for sure happen?
By accident?
No. By the way, you open the fridge and the light goes on.
I didn't know about it.
No, even if you know, that's called a psik resha.
Because maybe it's not, maybe
No. Psik resha means for sure.
But if you know it's going to happen, why would you open the door?
That's why you wouldn't.
So psik resha, you're driving in a car as well?
No. When you drive a car, that's a regular malacha. There, you want to turn the light on. I mean, it's not a light, it's a motor. You want to turn the motor on. Here, you don't want to turn the light on, but it turns on. That's called the psik resha.
Is there ever any way to get around opening the fridge?
Yes, there is actually. How do you open the fridge if you realize that the light is on? Ma'osim. Tell the guy.
Get a cold drink.
What's the hatter to tell the guy?
If you cannot do it, you cannot tell the guy.
So, but he says you can tell the guy.
It's a derabanan, and you don't want the light.
It's him to put the lights on.
That's correct.
The same with the pot.
That's correct.
The tilt of the pot is allowed. This one the Khalim going to fall.
That's correct. That's correct. This is a klal. This is a rule. Psik resha agade goy is mutter. When you tell a goy to do something that will cause a malacha to happen, that is permissible. Because what you're telling him to do is a permissible action.
Like,
that's what he's doing purposefully.
Hot water, you can tell the goy to turn it off.
Yeah. Even not the goy. Why do you have to tell the goy? Why can't you turn it off yourself?
Because then you would be doing another malacha, wouldn't you?
Why? What malacha are you doing if you turn off the hot water?
Yeah, turning on the hot water is a malacha, right? Because you're letting it in.
Turning it on, but why turning it off?
Anything you turn off, you're allowed, but not to turn it on. Because if you have animal, you catch on the you can let go of the animal, but you cannot catch it.
Okay, that's a separate thing. Turning off the hot water doesn't actually cause any malacha to happen. What happens when you turn on the water? You're bringing cold water into the hot water heater, which is cooking. When you turn it off, you're stopping the cold water from coming in. So you're stopping a malacha from happening. There is no malacha to stop a malacha from happening.
I once went to somebody's house and I accidentally turned on the hot water, thinking it was the cold water.
One second, Yossi. Instant hot water, yes. Because instant hot water, every time you turn it off, you turn off the fire. Every time you turn it on, you turn on the fire. That's something else. I'm talking about a regular hot water heater. Yes, Yossi.
No, I was just saying, I once was at someone's house. I didn't realize that I'd turned on the hot water. I thought it was the cold water. The woman of the house then proceeded to rinse off all of her dishes, thanked me very much, and switched it off, turned it off.
That's an interesting idea.
What he said?
He said that he turned on the hot water by mistake. And then once it was on, the woman in the house said, I'm a chaya. I'm going to wash my dishes now.
Well, rinse them all. I don't know that she did a comprehensive washing job, but yes.
Turned it off afterwards.
It was rather awkward.
It's allowed to do that?
I don't know. You tell me.
I don't think so. You don't allow if you turn on the light. I don't allow to enjoy the light, Rabbi.
Over here, is it enjoying a malacha? I mean, the water was hot.
You enjoy it. The hot water.
The water was hot anyway. The water was not because he turned on the hot water tap. Water was hot anyway.
Rabbi, Mechila, if it's the only hot water, it's hot too much. She have to put a little bit cold to mix it up. So it's,
Now you're already adding something to the story. You're making your own story.
no, it's very obvious.
You're making your own story. I don't know. I don't know if it's wrong what she did. I don't know. It's an interesting question. Yossi says he was in somebody's house. He turned on the hot water by mistake. And the woman of the house said, thank you very much. Now I'm going to wash my dishes. And then I'll turn it off when I'm done.
What do you think about that?
It doesn't sound good, but is there really a problem? She for sure didn't do anything, but is she benefiting from a malacha? The Jew did it, but the Jew didn't even do it. He didn't do it even b'shoigig. B'shoigig means when you do a malacha, you forgot it's Shabbos. You forgot it's a malacha. Here, the Gashmis, he didn't realize that this side turns it on. You know what I'm saying? It's like a masasa.
Usually the right-hand tap is cold and the left-hand tap is hot. And in that house, it happened to be the other way around.
I see. Maybe she did it on purpose. I'm just kidding.
I said, this doesn't seem like the first time. She said, yeah, a few people have made that mistake.
Right.
It's not something that's hardship. It's like there's always generation of the, because there's always new water coming in, so it's actually like continuous fashion. So we say when you do Shia not Mechala, you have to remove it because every second that you're doing Shia.
I wonder. I don't know.
No,
I don't know the halacha about hana from a misasik. That's basically the question. You're getting hana from a person who did a malacha kimisasik. That means he didn't even realize what he was doing. We learned. I don't know if you have to turn it off. I don't know if you have to turn it off.
Because we said like hot water is like Mivasha, correct?
Wouldn't that be like saying you couldn't use the light in a room if someone had turned on the light?
So you have to remove because
Yeah, but over there, he has an ongoing isser. She is an ongoing isser. I understand that. She is an ongoing isser. Every time you leave it on, you might forget and you might stoke it.
So leave the hot water on is not going to be.
I don't know. I don't know if it's misasik where you didn't even realize you were doing a malacha. I don't know if that's called a malacha. I don't know. I'm not sure. What do you say?
Wouldn't that be like not being allowed to use the light if someone accidentally leaned on the light?
Same exact question. Yeah, same exact question. I don't know if there's an isser to get hana from misasik. I don't think so, but I'm not 100% sure. By the way, regards from
Gershon Odds?
Odds. Herschel?
Gershon Odds, yeah. He WhatsApped me the photo of the two of you.
Yeah. I forgot his first name. Very
Gershon,
good.
yeah.
Okay, we'll continue, Rabbi, so we can finish
We can finish.
we can finish.
All right.
So the secret, there's no intent.
Less
There's no
questions.
intent.
We have
Questions are
finished
good. Questions are good.
Secret,
No,
definite result.
it's a definite result. There's no purposeful intent. You know it's going to happen, but that's not your intent.
So that's unintended?
That's
No.
unintended. It's unintended.
Unintended me.
Unintended but
And it
expected.
wasn't,
No, unintended but yet expected.
so you know what's gonna happen and.
But that's not your intention. You don't care about it.
Don't care about it.
Actually, there's something called the psik resha de loy nichale, actually. What's the psik resha de loy nichale?
You really don't. The result is not something to expect. It's actually for the opposite from. It's like what we wanted.
It doesn't have to be the opposite. It means where you don't benefit from it at all. A regular psik resha is where you have a benefit. It's not your intention, but you have a benefit. The example of that is like the refrigerator. You open the refrigerator. You don't want the light to go on. I mean, you don't care if it goes on, but now that it's on, okay, I can see. It's actually similarly with the hot water. Whenever you turn on a hot water tap, what do you want? You want the hot water to come out. The cold water is coming in and it's getting heated up. That's not your intention. But at the same time, you're happy about it, so that when you'll need it later, it'll be hot. You understand?
So the low Nicola would be like if you walk through a door in a building, the laser went on, you're not benefiting anything.
And you're not going in through that door. If you're going in, you're benefiting.
Oh, and you're not.
If you're just passing by, you're going this way, the door opens that way, nothing.
Or like, okay, so it's if you're walking down the street and people have those sensors in their lights.
Exactly. Although there, maybe the light helps you
benefit.
walk, benefit, whatever. But a door opening is an example. If you're not going through that door, where you have no benefit from it whatsoever. So, psik resha nichale, what's the halacha?
It's a machlokes.
Allowed, deraisa, derabanan.
Yeah, so I think
You do it?
No,
Amet?
If you don't ever go to do it.
you don't like to do.
Pashut?
I think you don't know to enjoy the melech.
Pick up the pot.
No. The part with the gechalim is not a psik resha. If you do it very carefully, maybe it's not going to move.
There was two of them. One that the pot is inside the gachal, one is on top.
Exactly. If it's inside, you can't take it
You have to
because
tell it go to
it's a telego. You can't take it
But
yourself.
if it's on it,
If it's on it, maybe it will move it, maybe it's not. It's not a psik resha. But if it's a psik resha, can't take it yourself.
No, but with the door with the laser, and then some doors the laser just makes it beep. It's nothing about the door opening or anything.
So-
you're not benefiting anything. It's just, it'll be-
I know what you mean, exactly.
So here,
Exactly,
if
yeah.
the refrigerator or the light is on, you don't know to enjoy the light.
No, you're not allowed to open it. You're not allowed to open it. I'm not talking about enjoying the light. I'm talking about you're not allowed to open it.
But psik resha the lo nichale, no?
Psik resha de lo nichale is not by the light. The light, are you going to benefit from the light? That's not called lo nichale. I'm talking about lo nichale where you have no benefit at all. Like, for example, when you open a door, David said, you open a door, some doors now, they have a little beep, a little sensor, like the alarm. Little sensor, beep goes. You don't care about the beep at all. Psik resha lo nichale is what? No. Allowed, not allowed, deraisa, derabanan.
so. I think there's a difference with what you can tell a guy to do if it's drabanan or deraisa. I think whether it's explicitly tell him or hint to him. Is that right?
Yeah, but what is a psik resha lo nichale?
Oh, you mean what's the definition?
No, what is the halacha about it?
There's a machlokes. I think that some people say that if it's derabanan lechatchila you can do it, and some people say that if it's and I think Mishnah Berurah holds that you can't do it lechatchila, and deraisa you can never do lechatchila.
So the eraisa, even though we paskin that you cannot, but there is actually an opinion that we brought in the Shulchan Aruch, Siman Shin Chaf. There is an opinion that says that it's mutter, even if it's a da'iraisa. Exactly. That's the opinion of the Aruch. The Aruch is of that opinion. It brings it in a case of a cloth that you're putting in to close a hole, and the cloth is full of wine, and you're going to squeeze it into the hole, and some of the wine's going to come out. To close the barrel. So if you don't put a bowl to catch the wine, it's a psik resha de lo nichale, and according to the Aruch, it's mutter. Yeah.
So in general, situation from the weather is also.
We don't pass like the Aruch. Sorry, we pass that it's usher, but he holds that it's mutter. So it's just got a good opinion to know about in case you have other reasons to be lenient. But as Yossi said, if it's a Issa de Rabbanan, Then there are some achronim that are mekel also, although many achronim are machmer.
Basically, so Allah Lamaisa is opposed to Raisa Rabbanan, it's Asi.
Yes, but the Raisa for sure, the Rabbanon, not so clear. So maybe it's. Maybe.
Not all the time.
I don't know. I don't want to paskin on something I don't know 100%, but it's possible. It's possible.
But if you're doing Bishina, it means that you already know what.
Thank you. Yeah, psik ratio, you know. Doesn't say you don't know, but you don't care about it.
It means when you start to do Shina, it means already you're looking ahead to what's going to happen.
Okay, but you don't care about it. You know, that's not your intention. I have this question on Shabbos. Not every Shabbos, but I have a neighbor across the road, traditional, but not from. They have this thing on their door. Open the door, a beep. Because whatever, it's part of their alarm system. They're not from. I'm going to tell them to bypass it. So sometimes I need them, like minyan, whatever. We have a minyan Friday night and Shabbos afternoon in my area. So no, I don't knock. I don't open the door. I knock and they open.
That's putting a stumbling block in front of a blind person.
I don't know if it is. Subsik reisha the loy nichalei, but the rabbanon. That's only a rabbanon, the whole thing.
But you let Jew to
making a sound, right? Just the sound itself. It's not a fire. Understand?
You loud?
Yeah, but those lights are probably not LED lights. Yeah. Also,
you should ask them how they paskin, and if they paskin that it's not a problem, then it's okay.
They paskin that lechatchila, it's no problem.
This kasha, if you let the Jew to open the door and you know his door is beeping,
I do it when I need them. Yes, that's my.
I know.
Oh, okay. So we allowed to do that.
I didn't say you are. I'm not pasking for you. What do you say, Elsie?
I know it's not officially part of what we're going to be tested on, but it is a general question I have. Are you allowed to promote somebody doing something that they paskin lechatchila? So if someone holds by a heter, like could I buy not Chol Yisrael chocolates for someone who doesn't keep Chol Yisrael or whatever, or could I serve a Dutch person fleischig an hour after milchig, or could I knock on the door knowing that they hold that there's no problem, even though I wouldn't use that heter for the doorbell or whatever?
That's a question that has to be addressed separately for each of those cases.
Okay.
Chalav Yisrael, the answer is no, because those that don't hold of chalav, that whole heter, don't hold of it b'chlal. They don't hold that it's a machlekes. They hold that it's simply aser. So, but on the other hand, when it comes to a thing that's a recognized opinion in Rishonim, you know what I'm saying? The whole thing about waiting 6 hours, 1 hour, 3 hours, that's already from the Rishonim. So I wouldn't consider that lifnei iver to give that.
That's not. But there are batei din all over the world that have no problem giving a hechsher to not Chol Yisrael things.
Okay, but I'm not going to be part of it. I'm not going to buy it for them, and I'm not going to give it to them even if I have it in my house.
Does that mean that there's a problem?
I'm not going to give it to them.
Does that mean that there's a problem with endorsing it as kosher?
I wouldn't endorse it as kosher.
So okay, that is interesting.
It causes a suffix in a person's immune.
I understand that, but those that are matir say that it's good enough. It makes the Chol Yisrael by having the government supervisions, whatever. Yeah. About Chol about helping somebody get Chol if they go by it. Okay, but each of these questions are separate. They have to be dealt with in a separate discussion. Okay, tell me what Mistamak V'Yafalei means, please.
That's where you're cooking something and it improves.
Correct.
So it's already cooked, but it continues to improve.
Correct. Give me an example of mitzvah v'ra loy.
Where your cholent is starting to burn.
Correct. Tell me what kadei klipa means.
The size, the depth of appeal.
This is a general question.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're welcome to answer, but whoever wants can answer.
Depth of appeal is what I say.
No, this is public.
Look, just one the thick of the knife. You know,
The layer of the knife, exactly, one layer. Joseph, you're coming to Ma'ariv, yeah? He says yes. Okay, good, excellent. Okay.
Where is the?
Raphael, we're counting on him.
He called me. I was in Selichot.
I think he's coming.
He was at the Breslin Center before.
Yeah. Okay. So if I say a malacha, you tell me what, how you define that malacha. All right?
Melacha of what?
I'm going to say malacha. I'm going to tell me what it means. Machatech.
You chops the salad.
Cutting the sides.
Can do that.
Cutting to size, correct. Cutting in a measured way, correct. Mimareach. Smoothing, correct. Smearing, that's correct. Is that an av or a tilde? The Rabbi Wilson's not going to ask this, but we're just having fun.
It's an of, I think.
Mimareach is not an av.
Oh.
Then it must be a tilde, that's correct.
Called a building.
Wow. Yeah, exactly. Part of the process of ma'abed, of turning it into leather, was to smooth the surface of the leather. So it's a tilde of ma'abed.
But there's no malacha.
No, it's a tilde. What about mefarek?
Correct.
Yeah.
Separate. Separate, Rabbi.
Av or tilde? Tilde of? Squeezing? Mefarek is squeezing.
Of.
Mefarek is actually extracting. Schita is squeezing. But what's the av? What is it called? What is it called? Yeah, Joseph's got it. Dosh. Tilde of dosh. Dosh is to remove the grain from the husk. And removing the liquid from the solid, which is mefarek, is a tilde of that. That's correct. Okay. Tilde of dosh, correct.
Well, the difference between Dutch and Norway is the one done by hand, one done by the wind.
No. No. That's the difference between Zohar and Boyer. That's the difference between Zohar and Boyer. Dosh is to remove specifically something from inside something else. Boyer is if it's mixed and you remove it. Dosh is to take out something from inside something else. Zohar is also separating, but it's with the wind.
Selecting.
Zohar is separating with the wind, and Boyer is selecting. Yeah. Yeah. What about tikkun kli? Tikkun kli is the tilde of makabe patish. What does makabe patish mean?
Final hammer blow, finishing.
Final hammer blow, that's correct.
The Khalifa is almost finished, just one small to.
Exactly. Tikkun kli is a tilde of that. Give me an example of tikkun kli.
Fixing a. Some people would say that plunging a toilet is if it's completely blocked, and it's not the regular way.
Kli, and a toilet, unless you have a porta potty.
Oh.
Kli is connected to the ground, so that toilet. Sorry, that would be boina.
Oh, sorry. That would be like screwing. Some people would say screwing the top of a salt cellar on, if it's designed to be permanent.
Wow, salt cellar is not designed to be permanent.
Didn't we say that some people say that?
No.
What was it?
No.
What he said?
Salt cellar, to open a salt cellar and put the salt in and tighten it back.
Yeah, but then you.
I mean, it's a question. It is a question because it's not open and closed all the time like a bottle, but it's
Yeah, we said it's a
definitely
machlokas.
klima d'oraisa.
No.
Oh.
It's not like a klima d'oraisa because it's not something that needs extra strength. It's not a very hard, tight thing.
So the
So-
classic example given was two pieces of a cup that need to be screwed together, I think, or one of those pill cup.
the right way. So basically putting together a kli. If you would put in the arm of the glasses, if you would connect them, if the screw came out and you would put it in together with a screw,
It's tikkun.
something that's you need a professional to do. You know what I'm saying? That's simple. That's tikkun kli. That's tikkun kli.
What about repairing like a vessel?
If it's something that
Repairing a pottery thing.
exactly.
With resin or.
Exactly. Anything that's
Clean.
well, let's put it this way. When it comes to binyan, so if you
The ground.
when it comes to binyan, it has to be a significant act. Like even if it's like
Yeshua Adama.
What the question?
What's the difference in Makkah partition?
No, I took my party will take in a new passport first time on the fire, and this going to make it stronger. It's like
that's also true.
So
That's also true. Yeah, but if a kli is broken and you fix it and you make it usable, once again, that's tikkun kli. Yeah, no question about it. It may also be binyan. There is a machlokes if there's binyan bekalim or not, and it may also be binyan, right? But binyan may or may not apply to kalim. Rashi says it does not. Tosfos says if it's something that's professionally done and it's a tight job, then it could be binyan as well. But
size.
if it's a certain size, then it can for sure be binyan, correct, because it's considered connected to the ground. But tikkun kli, everybody agrees, if you complete a keli and make it usable, or just complete it, even if it's already usable, but you perfect it, that is tikkun kli. So correct. The broken kli, repairing it would be tikkun kli. That's correct.
People really, practically speaking, people really do this in Shabbos. They don't wait a couple hours to start gluing their pottery back together.
Oh, of course they wait. Well, who glues
Right.
pottery back together in
No,
Shabbos?
but, or making fixing their, something breaks, so that you put it on the site. You're not gonna start fixing it, really, right?
That's because you learned the halachas.
Okay, all right. Good answer.
On Shabbos, you open up the soda,
Right.
and this part is supposed to be in the bottle. It happens that comes out from the cup and then pulls up. That's technically.
Is it?
No, we study, we allowed to open it.
Why is it taking?
What's it
fixing?
fixing?
You're not fixing it, you're making something.
What are you making with it? What are you finishing with it?
That finishes like a ring.
That if you give that ring to your kala, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
You run away.
But to give an example of this.
No.
That's not a kli.
That's not a kli.
Now the bottle cap, no, that's not a kli. The bottle cap that came off of, that is perhaps a kli.
Because then you're putting it back.
Rabbi, didn't we say we better to open all the bottles before Shabbos? Some people have the opinion he's not allowed to open any of the bottles.
That's correct.
He's talking about finishing.
That's exactly it. Like that right here.
This one you love.
No, same question.
This one you love, Rabbi. This is the same thing what.
This is
soda.
exactly the question.
Watch.
When you open this the first time, so it comes off the ring, and after that, it's easy to open and close. As long as it's connected, it's difficult. When it's disconnected, it becomes easy. So that's, some achronim say you cannot do it.
See,
They consider it tikkun kli. Rabbi Shlomo Zalman held that because it's not such a big difference between with the ring and without the ring, he held it was okay if it's plastic. Metal he held not. Plastic he held yes. So
What would happen
הקדוש ברוך הוא ישירות.
Yeah.
comes out.
Yep,
And what happens that when the cup is out, these drops.
that makes a difference.
It's separate.
By the way, on plastic bottles,
That makes a difference. The ring is not the issue. The ring is not the issue because that's garbage. Nobody uses that ring.
We're not
The
doing
issue,
anything new.
I'm sorry. No, the issue is this. What you're left with that becomes a usable item is the cap. The ring is garbage. The ring is not the issue. No, but some say that the cap itself is a problem, and it's definitely a better thing to do to open them for because it is a machlokes achronim.
it is possible to open plastic ones without breaking the cap.
Yes.
The ring off the cap. If you put your fingers underneath and apply pressure as you open it, 99% of the time you won't actually get the ring off.
That is correct. We haven't even started. We're still in the definitions.
Oh.
Okay. I don't know. I'm just randomly going whatever comes to my mind. Shnayim she'asauhu. Explain to me the concept of Shnayim she'asauhu.
They stand in the door, one stand in the door and the deer is in front of them and the other come. No, it's patur.
So
So
this is where two people do something that one person could do.
put it back to the frame and only one can do it. No, only one cannot do it. Two of them they can put the door back. So shtayim she'asu, put it back.
What's so Shnayim she'asauhu is if two people do a malacha instead of one.
If one of them can do it, then patur.
Exactly.
If two of them, then not.
Exactly. If two people do a malacha that could be done by one person, it's only asar midrabanan. Is that what you're going to say, Asi?
Yep.
Excellent. Why is it only asar darabanan?
What if it's an issue?
You see what you're drinking over there?
Then it's a double darabanan.
You won't be allowed.
No.
I think I'm actually not sure. Is it because it's a very different way of doing it?
Correct. It's an unusual way to do it.
Yeah.
That's correct. Okay. Moving on to a little bit. Let's talk about Bishul a little bit. What's the difference between Tuldas Chama and Tuldas Ha'ur?
Chama זה בית טבריה. לא, חמה זה אשדוד.
תולדות החמה ותולדות האור.
I think the main difference
Or something else.
is that
From the fire.
Correct. So Yossi, they already gave the answer here, so you can tell me what is the difference halachically. The Pegashmi is Tuldas Chama is something heated by the sun. Tuldas is something heated by the fire. What's the halachic difference between the two?
the sun, cooking from the sun itself is not a problem, but cooking from what the sun heats up is a problem.
Why?
Because cooking from the sun is sufficiently unusual and was never included in the problem of Bishul.
Correct. But cooking from was heated by the sun.
If it's heated by the sun, then it's not being cooked by the sun, it's being cooked by a hot pan, and a hot pan, for example, is a normal way of cooking. Once you've heated the pan, it doesn't matter how the pan was heated, it's the pan cooking it.
That's correct. You got it?
Yeah.
But isn't that Asr de Rabbanan, as we're cooking with or is Asr del Raisa?
That's correct. Tuldas Chama is Asr Rabbanan because it could be mistaken for Tuldas Ur. Tuldas Ur is Asr Midaraisa. That's correct. So cooking on a fire, like in a fire in your kitchen, is Ur or Tuldas Ur?
In your kitchen.
Or exactly. What about cooking in a Kli Rishon that's off the fire?
That is also Durabanan.
No.
No,
Oh, okay.
as long as it's the heat level is still the same level.
That is called Tuldas Ur. A Kli Rishon off the fire is Tuldas Ur, and that is also Daraisa. If it's a lettuce boy, of course, and it cooks it. To what extent do you have to cook something to be chayav Daraisa? Michael Ben Russoy is correct.
Which is 50% when we say Duraisa and 30% when we say Durabanan. Is that right?
It's a machlokes. It's a machlokes. We're machmir, correct. In Hilchos Shabbos, we are
But the
machmir.
oraita is the if somebody cook like a Nachabel Tosai,
Yeah.
it's like that.
Well, are you allowed to cook something that's cooked kamachal ben drasoi? Can you finish off the cooking? If something is already cooked kamachal ben drasoi, can you put it back on the fire? Because ein
It's
bishul
no Durabanan.
machlokes. What are the opinions? Yossi says derabanan.
I think the
Rafal says deraisa.
the oraita, yes.
Anybody else?
Because it's still cooking.
Anybody else? No. That's only about shahiyah.
What's the case again?
Get back on the fire.
If putting something back in the fire that was cooked kamachal ben drasoi.
So, but we're side, ready.
Before Shabbos or after? Before Shabbos? On Shabbos?
On Shabbos is Ben side. We take it off.
Can you put it back? Take it off. You can take it off. No problem. Can you
Anything,
put it back?
So it's Chazara.
Well, it's bishul, maybe not.
anything did
So
not cook
it's a
100%.
machlokes 3 ways, Rabbi, just for your information. As far as Rav Wosner is concerned, you just tell him it's also about it. But for your information, the Rambam holds it's the Eraisa. There are some Rishonim who hold it's the Rabbanan. I don't remember who they are. And the Rashba says that it's mutter. Don't mention that. But I'm just telling you.
Which number is this?
I don't know. I'm just kind
He's not
of.
going by the order here. He's not, don't look at that.
It's sure, that's it.
These are review questions for us. He's asking just stuff that.
It was between the Kira, the Tanur, and
Yeah.
Okay, so it was on the Kira that it was the right one. If it was Gav of the Kardul and the parameter with 18, it was Mutar. And if it was the Kash, I said in my pocket, even that if it's not covering, it's still allowed.
What are you saying in reference to? I don't know what you're.
To put the part back on, then not just Richard my husband to say.
Oh no! To put back, if it's only Machamad, so you can never put it back. We pass it like the Rambam.
Yeah. We say that there are 7 things to put back, don't we? And one of them is fully cooked.
Rabbi,
We don't pass like those opinions.
Rabbi, I thought we paskin anything did not cooked 100%.
One second. No, those not in the Gemara. There's no such opinion. You're talking about Hananya, the Chacham. No such opinion in the Gemara. It's in the Rishonim. The whole question of Machal ben Rusoi, Bishal Acha Bishal, if it's Machal ben Rusoi, it's Machlek is Rishonim.
What is the difference between Mahavet of Sa'i and if it was completely cooked?
Yeah, but what you're talking about is about Shehiyah, not about Chazar. Machlek is between Hananya and the Chachamim. If you can leave something on when it's Machal ben Rusoi or not, Hananya says yes, Chacham say no. That whole Machlek is not about Chazar. That's only about Shehiyah. About Chazara, we paskin that it's for sure Aser. But the Rashba, okay, it would be mutter, but that's not brought in halacha l'maisa. I mean, it's brought in theoretical discussion, not halacha l'maisa.
Anything
Sorry.
did not cook 100%, this is not allowed.
Can't put back. Can't put back.
You know
Correct.
that.
That's correct. Okay, so is there anything that a Kli Rishon does not cook off the fire?
Salt.
Again?
Salt. Kli Rishon off the fire does not cook salt. Correct or incorrect?
Well, there is a machlokes, but I think salt is
That's correct. That's one thing that does not cook
There's also
off the fire, although there is a machlokes about it, and a person who's machmer tavel brachos.
What's the name of the meat? It's
Ox
the ox.
Exactly, ox meat. If it has no liquid in it, if it's tough ox meat, that's correct. Name something.
It will not cook that?
Correct.
Clearly shown.
It won't cook salt either?
Salt is a machlokes. The main halacha is that it does not cook salt. That's correct. Add to. Whoever is doing that is going to ruin whatever else is in the pot. But
doing what?
putting a piece of raw ox meat off the fire is not a good recipe. Okay, what about something? This is like a trick question, but that's okay. A irui mikli rishon that does not cook. And tell me something that you can pour from a kli rishon into it, and it doesn't cook it. Usually it cooks kadei klipa, that's correct. Tell me something that you pour it into and it doesn't cook it.
Oh, a very large amount of cold water.
A very large amount of cold water is a good answer because it doesn't cook it, because it mixes in and it gets warm. Anybody else? Anything else?
That's not what you were looking for.
No, I was thinking of that too. But I have an answer that's similar to that, but it's only according to the Ran. The Ran says that whenever you pour into a liquid, it never cooks because there is no surface that it hits consistently. It's mixing all the time. So he says that it's mutter, even if it gets to Yatz Let as well. But it's better to be strict, not like the Ran, but nevertheless. Okay, who can tell me something that a kli sheni does definitely not cook?
Pepper?
Pepper, thank you. Spices, good. What else?
Something that's added into it.
What? Anything that's added into it?
No, okay. No, there's something.
That's what the Gemara says, but does it mean everything?
Except for Alei Bishul.
That's a machlokes. That's a three-way machlokes, actually.
Sorry, what was that?
Our father is saying that the kli sheni doesn't cook anything except for kalei bishul. So that's a three-way machlokes. Some say exactly what you're saying. And according to that opinion, you could put anything into a kli sheni unless you see that it cooks begashmias. Tosfos says that it's mechzik and mevashel. One answer in Tosfos says it's mechzik and mevashel. Tosfos says, according to one answer, that it's mechzik and mevashel. Even if it doesn't cook, it looks like cooking. And the Yereim says that we have to be strict. Maybe it cooks some things. We don't know what exactly, unless it's certain things that it for sure doesn't cook. So I'm asking, according to those opinions, according to the Yereim and Tosfos that are machmir, which the mashmos of the machaber is not like that, by the way. So that's probably what you meant.
The Yerim is nothing to do with the amount of kelim, it's just the temperature.
Exactly.
We studied kli sheni is to cook the egg.
That's the kalei bishul, yeah. So another thing that kli sheni does not cook, even
Something already cooked?
Something already cooked is for sure. That's true, but that's true even of a kli rishon. Actually, going back to a kli rishon, put that into that question as well. That something already cooked does not cook even in the kli rishon, but that's even true on the fire. So that's really not the appropriate answer for that either. But actually, that's a good question. What is it that doesn't cook even on the fire? Kli rishon on the fire. We could have started with that. And we could have said something already cooked. Okay, fine. For next time. Anyway, off the fire is ox meat. Well, if you have the conditions of Chazara.
Does salt cook on the fire?
Take something out of the pot and put it back on a different pot.
Why not?
Temperature.
Why not? I mean, not according to Ben Yonah, actually. Ben Yonah talks about liquids, but probably the same as about solids, according to Ben Yonah. Got the minion, shkoyach. Okay, so where were we?
Something that doesn't cook in a kli sheni.
Kli sheni, yeah, liquids also. Liquids also don't cook in a kli sheni. Okay, what does cook in an irui from a kli sheni?
A very thin piece of fish, is it?
Exactly, a very thin piece of fish or anything else that you see with your eyes that cooks. Kalei bishul, correct.
Isn't that the Spanish fit?
Spanish mackerel, that's correct. Yeah. Okay, so what's a good way to make tea on Shabbos?
Yes.
Tea.
Best way is to make the essence.
Tea essence, and then what do you do with the essence?
You pour it into a kli shlishi or kli sheni.
Which one?
Kli shlishi usually.
Why
But
not?
there's no problem with putting it into a cliche.
Sure.
Why not just do a cliche? Why do you have to do a cliche?
I don't know actually. I don't know why it is that people use a cliche for tea essence. If you're not using a
Yes.
if you're not using tea essence, then you should use.
Let me just go back to the tea essence before you go on. Kli shlishi. Joseph is saying, why not a klisheni? Liquids don't cook in a klisheni. Well, if it's not yetzeledus, then it's not a klisheni. Anything that's not yetzeledus does not go into the category of bishul at all, even kli rishon. It's not in the discussion because it doesn't cook. It's not a temperature that cooks.
Oh, people use a kli shlishi because they pour into it. Is that why?
Yeah, but why do they? Why? Why can't they just do kli sheni? You could do kli sheni. We won't hold it against you if you do kli sheni. But to explain the opinions or the machmirim that use a kli shlishi, so you shouldn't look like an Amoritz when you see somebody using a kli shlishi, and you shouldn't tell them off for it. No, not the Iraim, because the Iraim is makel by liquids, especially if we hear that it's a cooked liquid, and you have the swara exactly that ain bishlach bishul, maybe even balach, maybe. The answer is yad nichvis boy. That's the word that you're looking for. Yad nichvis boy means what? Exactly. A heat that is so hot that it burns your finger. It burns your finger. Yad nichvis boy, as opposed to seledus. Seledus means like
uncomfortable.
Uncomfortable. You recoils. Your hand recoils. Nichvis boy means burns. And the opinion of the Chai Adam, which is actually based on the Tur, is that Yad Nichvas Ba, you should treat a Kli Sheni like a Kli Rishon. So, Bagashmi is our. Yeah, but that's talking about a regular Kli Sheni, not a Yad Nichvas Ba Kli Sheni. A regular Kli Sheni is not Mavash, no, thank you. But a Yad Nichvas Ba Kli Sheni is different.
So what's the temperature?
Cliche is cliche.
Exactly.
Well, says it hit cliche, but if it's got nichvus, well, it's still like cliche.
Exactly. And they have Yerushalmi. It's based on Yerushalmi, and it's also based on Ambati.
Yeah, it's 11th, but you wouldn't say that.
No.
If you would consider that cliche.
Yeah. Regularly, it's considered cliche. But if you take it out of a boiling urn directly into cliche, that's where we're talking about this.
What's the temperature difference?
Ooh, that's a hard one.
120. What's the lowest degree burn? They would receive some water.
That's a good question. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe that's the answer. Maybe that's the answer. Whatever temperature would burn you.
Feel it and find out.
Type. Who types nowadays? At what temperature does human skin burn?
Yeah, it's going to be the
You're looking at a burning burning point. That's going to be very high.
One second. Yes.
That didn't hear me. Whatever it is, whatever. Okay, Bagashmias. So that's okay. Yassi, you were saying if it's. Yeah.
We're talking about immediate burn.
Yeah.
Stick your finger in, stick it out, and burn already.
Exactly.
I don't know about that.
A couple seconds, it'll burn.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I was saying
about, without a tea essence. Yassi, you were going to say.
Then some opinions do not allow you to do it at all, but most opinions that people follow nowadays allow you to put the tea bag into a certain. I've seen everything from putting into a kli shlishi, and some people use a kli revi even.
That's a new one. I never. It
says in Shemer Shabbos Kilchasa.
What?
I think it does. I shall look it up now.
I am because that's the first time I've ever heard of a Kli Revi. Those that are Mekel would say so even a Kli Shlishi. I don't believe I've ever heard of a Kli Revi. But those that are Machmer, why are some Machmer?
Because tea has not been cooked before, and so there is a real issue of bishul.
And therefore they consider it Kaleh HaBishul. And those that are Mekel, how do they respond to that? That? Tea bags, Kaleh HaBishul. We see Bagashmi cooks. That's correct. That's what the Moshe brings down. That if you would leave it in cold water for long enough, it would extract. So he says so. The hot water just extracts faster. It's not cold cooking. Okay, moving right along. Chananya and the Chachamim. You were mentioning before, Ronnie. Tell me about Chananya and the Chachamim. The Kesher to Shehiyah.
Oh.
That what? What's the machlokes? That's correct. So, what is the difference? The Gashmi is physically the difference between a kira and a tanor and a kupach. Three ancient cooking instruments. Kira has room for two pots. Correct. Correct.
Can you repeat this?
That's correct.
Part of the kira, but lower than the top.
Correct. A kira is a makom, is like a tanur that has room to cook either in it or on it, and it has room to put two pots. Kupach is the same thing with room for one pot. Tanur is the same thing, but it gets narrow on the top, so it gets very hot. So what's the difference, al pi halacha, between these three? You didn't think I was going to ask that.
On Tanur is not allowed because the heat is too much. If it's low, the cosmos, so it's not allowed to be on the Tanur.
That's correct.
Kupa, again, if it's was done with, if it's food, it'll be also like the Tanur. If it's going to be gobble. But if it's going to be the kash and it's gobble cotton, it will be more like the kira.
Kash doesn't have to be gar for cotton because kash but dies off. Makes a difference. Kash dies off very quickly, so there's no. You never need gar for cotton.
If it's only kash, you can put it on higher. But if it's it will be
No, if it's eitzim, it doesn't help to have gar for cotton.
on kira.
Because on a kupach. Oh, on a kira, yeah, kira. Good. Okay.
Repeat it quickly, Rabbi.
Repeat it quickly, please. No?
Difference between the three.
Yeah.
Because I need it.
Okay. The difference between the three is in terms of being allowed to leave a pot on it according to the Chacham. I want to clarify. All of these differences are only according to the Chachamim or according to Chananya if it's less than Ma'achal ben Rusoi. You see, if it's more than Ma'achal ben Rusoi according to Chananya, we don't care if it's even on a tanor, even open flame. It's already cooked. You don't care about it. You're not going to stoke it. You're going to say, I don't according to the Chachamim for that matter, if it's mitztamek l'raloi, so even if it's on an open flame, even a tanor, again, you're not going to stoke it because it's just going bad. The question is, according to the Chachamim, if it's mitztamek v'yafadeh, or according to Chananya, if it's less than half cooked, so then you have to cover the flame. The question is, does covering the flame help? So by regular kupach, it's a regular oven, it helps. By a tanor, because it's a very hot thing, so even if you cover the flame, doesn't help. You still can't leave that item there. It's not half cooked. So that's the difference. The Maisa, our ovens are not like their ovens because they open on the side, they cool off fast, so we can treat them like a kira. Okay, so here's a question that I've asked you in the past, but in case you forgot, you are stuck in Yas.
In Australia,
Exactly.
That place?
It's a
middle
place
of nowhere.
where I was stuck for Shabbos when we had a tire blowout between
You're
Sydney
kidding.
and we spent Shabbos in Yas, me and my friend Daniel Green. So you're stuck in Yas for Shabbos and you don't have a blech. You have food. We had plenty of food because all the food for our Seder, we were going to have to make a Seder in Byron Bay. All our food, that was Pesach food.
Byron Bay.
Byron Bay, yes, those were the days. Anyway, what's the halach if you don't have a blech? How can you keep your food hot in a permissible way without a blech?
Without a blech, you could. A blech is most useful for putting back food, isn't it?
A blech is useful for putting back food, but one second, Michael, what are you saying?
You have a stove,
You have a stove,
so
yes.
you cover it up, put a layer.
Okay, you can put foil, but let's say you don't have foil. In the remote possibility that you don't have foil, you pulled into the hotel mamish lichtbench in time, as Bachram would do, you know.
You have a cover for the pot?
You don't have a cover.
So if you're careful not to put it back, could you could leave it on the open fire?
Saying the same thing.
Well, can't you just
Sure.
find it? Can't you just find like a pot, turn it upside down, and make it improvise a blech?
These are all good ideas, but that's improvised blech. I was asking if you don't have that either.
Oh, I know.
That's
open,
true.
Open up the oven, turn on the oven, up the oven, and let it rest on the door. So that way, it's kind of like putting it next to a fireplace.
Ouch. No, I'm not staying in that hotel room. You can that. Ronnie and Yossi are pointing out that.
Raw meat, right?
Oh,
Raw meat,
oh,
right
oh.
before-
David Leib is an idea. You could put raw meat in right before Shabbos. That's correct. But as Ronnie and
Only for the
Yossi,
day, not for the night.
if the food is already half cooked, certainly if it's fully cooked, you actually don't need a blech. You don't need a blech. The whole point of the blech in that case is either to fulfill the opinion of the Chachamim, if you want to be strict, or to allow you to put it back. But if you're not planning to put it back, you're okay without a blech. All right? So that's good to know.
Yeah, I now question why I use a blech a lot.
Today, I did text him, and I know he sometimes reads texts, so he knows what I want. But but he didn't. I didn't hear back from him. I'm going to try him again after the share. What do you say, Elsie? Sorry.
I now sometimes question why I use a blech for certain things.
I mean, the mila of the blech is threefold. First of all, it fulfills the opinion of the Chachamim, which, by the way, there is no clear psak like Hananya. The Rosh just says that the oilam is noheg like Hananya, and that's the Lamaisa. Sorry?
Sephardi psak is also like that. You know, it's like-
Right. It's not a clear psak. Right. Right, exactly. So it's not a clear psak. So it's definitely better to be machmer. Plus, you have the advantage of chazara, and also you don't have to worry about maybe it is half cooked, maybe it's not half cooked. So it's just like an extra thing.
Yep.
Half cooked, extra. No, I'm saying maybe is half cooked, not half cooked. So the blech is just like a precaution in case you want to do chazara. So 7 conditions of chazara. Let's have them.
There's a blech.
Blech.
And
Keep it in your hand.
Thinking,
Keep it in your mind.
And fully cooked.
Fully cooked.
don't put it on the floor.
Flame is
Don't put it on the floor. Flame covered, somebody said.
All the
All the
time.
time, somebody said. I'm missing.
Still hot.
Still hot.
Same hot.
Still hot, yes.
Not the same.
And no wait, no ratuv.
No.
No.
Have
היה צולדת בו.
We said that already.
Did it on the floor?
Said that already.
Have the intention to bring it back.
Yes.
Said that already. No, the seventh opinion is, and this is not according to everybody, but not into an oven. Only,
Ah.
not into. Not everybody agrees with that nowadays.
Sixth one?
I don't remember.
But
I don't remember, but I'll go over it again.
But it's divided to three. There's three in the main one, and then the other three extra ones that adding.
Right.
Subcategory.
Right, not all of them everybody agrees on. So let's start with some of them that everybody agrees on. Everybody agrees.
You have to hold it.
First lakol hot, and that you're allowed to return with
Cold sarkai. Everybody agrees cold sarkai, that it has to be fully cooked.
Full cook.
Couch, some say you can put it on the couch.
Still warm.
Still hot if it's lach. If it's lach, everybody agrees it has to still be hot. And it has to be a covered flame. It has to be a covered flame. Everybody agrees. I have to look it up. Sorry. I have to be tested too, my friends.
I think that's the candle. What was the third one, Rob said?
And the flame has to be covered. Everybody agrees to that one. But I don't remember. Give me a second, please.
So I want to say this other again?
V'lo hinicha gabe karka.
It says that on the town of yeah, this is similar. So then there's yeah, the first three is still hot and to return to a copper flame. And the other three is Yarzik Biyado. Shouldn't transfer to another pot.
المخشبة.
And the attention to return it. And the second one is on top of the tongue and not inside. Correct, Robert?
Yeah.
I divide to the first three and the other three.
What's the division for?
The first
Yeah,
three-
Lamaisa, if it's a nichal gabe karka, everybody agrees that you can't put it back.
So that gets to four then.
Guess it's to 4, yeah.
So we have four.
Yeah.
It's 4 and 3, not 3.
Yeah.
But if you hold it in one hand, it's okay.
Although,
You don't have to hold it.
no, I take it back. According to the run, you can do away with that last one.
On the floor?
Yeah. In what case? In what case can you do away with that one, even that one, according to the run?
If you have your hand on
Which
it.
one?
No. Put it on the floor. Put it on the floor.
שלא יהיה לח.
No. According to the run, you can put it on the floor. Nothing to do with lach. Sorry? No, even with that data. What? Okay, so listen carefully, my friends. The Ran says that all of these conditions of Chazorah, when I say Chazorah, I mean as opposed to bishul conditions, right? If it's not fully cooked or if it's cold, you have a bishul issue. But all the conditions of Chazorah only apply if you took it off on Friday afternoon and you want to put it back on Shabbos for the first time on Shabbos. But if you took it off on Shabbos and you want to put it back on Shabbos itself, you don't need those conditions.
Any of these conditions?
Any of the Chazorah conditions.
The other three.
Right.
All 7.
No. The Chazorah conditions. Keeping it in your hand, having it in mind, and not putting it down. That's all.
It's fully cooked, has to be fully cooked, still hot, and the covered flame.
Yeah, those for sure.
That's what they said, I think it's Lachmir Ribbon with the other three on Shabbos himself, no?
Yeah, most Rishonim disagree with the
So
Ran.
there's two Chazaras.
Most Rishonim
There's
disagree with the
pre-Shabbos Chazar and post-Shabbos Chazar.
Exactly.
No, just according to him. Well, it's confusing. You don't go according.
Not lechatchila, but b'diavad. B'diavad, if you did it, you don't have to be machmer. You don't have to throw it out.
Put it on, you go on.
If you already put it on, you could certainly rely on the Ran b'diavad.
You're not allowed to do it. So according to the evidence before you did it?
If you put it on Shabbos.
B'diavad actually means after you did it. But I do want to point out that the Ramal passes like the Ran.
That's what?
I thought you needed to also.
That's if you accidentally let go.
Confusing.
You thought you were doing that?
On Shabbat, it's okay.
So-
Not on
so
Friday.
Shabbat, into Shabbat.
I'm reading for you the Ramah. ויש אומרים לכל זה אינו אסור רק שנוית למנקר מבוידם ולהחזיר את שחשיך, אבל לא כל משם מחשיך, אפילו נכלל גב הקרקע מותר, וכן נוהגם לא חוקה. וטוב להחמר. It's טוב להחמר. למעשה אשכנזים מחמר. We don't accept this Ramah lechatchila. But maybe Shas Abchak, whatever. Something to think, something to know about.
So if you need it, you'll be able to use it.
Maybe, yeah.
יש הרבה לשמאל.
If you're holding according to the Alter you're sitting all the time. So the other one you're going to be leaning, it says that for a mistake or something, that you something down already. And you made it.
Author brings the Ran too. Author brings the Ran.
So you bring it out, but the Allah says it's not.
Tov lahachmer. Also, same lashon as the Rama.
Opa!
Tov lahachmer.
That's also from Chabad. Or that's the Simanim.
No, Lamaisa we don't go by this Ran. Only maybe Shas Abchak. Because we accepted this Tov lahachmer.
When the Alter Rebbe says something's Tov Lahachmer, it's very different to anybody else in the world saying it.
Why?
Well, because that's the way Hasidim are with Rebbeim. When you hear from someone that something's good, it's like, yeah, that's a good thing. When a Rebbe says it, it's like, okay, that's
I don't know.
really that's
I haven't learned that.
what I see. You don't see that?
Any post that says Total Hachmer, it's Total Hachmer. They say. Any post it says the letters like this. Total Hachmer. So you're not Shabbos. It's not Shabbos. It's not Shabbos. It's not Shabbos. לא יכול. לא, בחודש. צורה, אנחנו גם באופן כיפור. What's the correct?
Okay, no, sorry, it doesn't say that. I take it back. I'm sorry. He says the Somchum Oilam. The Oilam is Somech. He doesn't say that that's the Ikar Allah.
Because the minhag must have changed. That was the minhag.
Yeah. He says the Oilam is Somech. He doesn't say you can do it Lachatchila. Okay, but I think the Shmir Shabbos is Somech on this run in the Shas Abchak. Shas Abchak. Whatever the situation is.
By the way,
Okay.
I was wrong about Shmir Shabbos Kilchasa saying Kli Revi. It says Kli Shlishi. I had so sorry about that. I misquoted.
No problem. Okay. So, tell me about the halachas of Hatmana Bedavar She'enem Moisef Havel. She'enem Moisef Havel. Motor Me'erev Shabbos, Aser on Shabbos. Why? Why are you not allowed to put a blanket around a hot pot on Shabbos?
Because it adds heat.
It does not add heat.
Oh, it doesn't add heat.
It is a
Oh,
davar
not on the fire.
in a moisef hevel, not on the fire.
Oh, right.
The fire it does not add heat. It just maintains the heat.
Is that because it looks like we're cooking?
Not really. I don't think so. Doesn't look like you're cooking.
Because
Nope.
something that doesn't something that doesn't add heat, but it looks like something that does add heat.
Nope.
Oh, because no, it's not because of coals, is it?
No. That's
Then-
not moisef hevel.
Ah,
For the moment. The answer is that when you start insulating, at the moment that you start insulating, is when you usually want the food to be very hot. Because you're insulating is something that does not add any heat of its own. So you need it to be hot already so that it'll have the heat to be insulated with. You know what I'm saying? Its own heat. So the fear is that when you do it on Shabbos for the first time, if you would do it on the Shabbos for the first time, if it's not so hot, you might forget and reheat it at that moment. That's why they said you cannot.
You might do it on purpose.
You might forget that it's Shabbos on purpose. We don't.
Heat it so that it starts hot.
We don't suspect.
it's starting hot.
I didn't say we don't. Hopefully we don't. We don't suspect that a Jew is going to do it on purpose.
So if you have it,
What Talmid Chacham, right?
Put it back on.
Sorry?
If you had it before Shabbos, there's not. One
Yeah.
Shabbos, you have to remove it, you have to put it back on.
Good question. What's the answer?
What was the question?
The question was, if you had your chicken soup in a blanket and you took it out of the blanket and now you want to put it back, may you?
It was before Shabbos and it's already there, so.
You don't
But not-
allow to cover all of it, just some of it.
It's a nice compromise.
It's not a smell though.
We learned that.
But I think you, no,
No, you're allowed to.
good, because even if, I think it said that even if it's cold and you're allowed to.
You're
put it
allowed
back on.
If it had the Hatmana on before Shabbos, you can add to it, you can remove it, put it back. If it falls off, you can put it back. It's okay. Okay, Hatmana b'davar ha-moisef havel is also even from before Shabbos. Why?
Cooked.
Before Shabbos.
Yeah, yeah.
Before Shabbos.
Because we might come to move it around and like coal. No, okay.
What do you mean move it around? What do you mean? I don't know what you mean.
So the way we used to cook is we'd put something into, say, a fire pit, and we'd try and we'd cover it with, or at least partially cover up the sides or something with coals and stuff.
I hear you. So I hear you. Go ahead.
Only
And we're afraid that people would come to move it around
Why would they move it around?
because that way the hotter coals would, I don't know, do whatever hotter coals do.
That's correct.
But the law of,
And an extension from that is covering it anyway.
Correct.
only because
Correct. 1 second. Let me explain what Yossi's saying. If you would be allowed to be matman with Moisef Hevel, you might do hatmana, you might insulate in actual coals, which are metal, which are movable, obviously. Coals are movable.
they're not still on it.
They, of course they do. You stick them all around. It's not just coals, it's ashes, it's the whole thing. And then,
But it was, it's allowed to remove it or not, but the discussions that it's not considered like a atmana because it's not allowed metal, it's not.
no, that is absolutely incorrect. It's a machlokes of satmana because it's not hatmana in the whole thing. It's just on the bottom. But it's,
One on the side.
if you put it on the sides, it's for sure hatmana. Sure hatmana. Why is it allowed? Okay, according to the Ramah, hatmana is only also if it's mamish around, top, bottom, sides, the whole thing. But it is hatmana with davar matatal. There's no question about it. Holes are movable things. A davar she'ein matatal is, for example, an oven wall. The wall of the oven is hard. You can't
But they're not attached to the part.
attach. Hatmana doesn't have to be attached. Hatmana is not attached. Hatmana is something that hugs it.
But it doesn't hug.
Yes, it does. No, there is no space. You put the coals all around,
No,
hugging the pot. The
You
oven,
can put it on top, can't you? You could put a napkin on, like a paper, like a towel on top, but you can't put it around the sides or the bottom. Is that right?
the Alter Paskin that the main Hatmana, with Davar Moisef Hevel, is the sides. It's the majority of the sides. So according to that, it would be also. The Ramah says it's only also if it's around all top, bottom, sides, everything. And the Machaber, by the way, is Machmer, even Hatmana b'miktzas, even just on the bottom. But the Ramah, so the Alter Rebbe says that it goes by the majority of the sides. There's an example.
So putting a towel on the top, if it doesn't hang over the sides, is not a problem according to anyone, right?
That's correct.
if it hangs over the sides, it's only a problem if it's significant, not if it hangs over a little bit, except
Right.
according to
That
some
would seem
people.
majority, correct.
Yep.
That's an example, Ryan, by the way. According to the Machaber, that Hatmana b'miktsas, even a partial Hatmana, is a problem. Nevertheless, the minhag is, Sfardim also, are makel, and they allow you to put a pot on a blech, on a plata. Why? Yeah,
Why is it not in total mixes?
yeah.
Because it's for next day, so it's not fine.
Okay. Yes, Shleimer, but there's another answer that Yaqut Yosef brings. That maybe doesn't apply because it's not a davar metaltal. It's not a pliable object. Not that it doesn't go full around. It can never, exactly. It's not something you can move like coals. Okay, so Lamaisa,
Am I allowed to put a towel on top on Shabbos?
no.
Why?
You're talking about on something that is already hot.
On a
and you
blech.
want to do Hatmana.
It's on a blech. It's hot, and I want to put the towel on top of it.
I don't
So
think
that's a davar she'ena mosef hevel.
that's correct.
Like we said, but I didn't get the reasoning why that was us, or if you do it for the first time on Shabbos.
Because when you do Hatmana for the first time, it has to be very hot. Maybe you'll realize that it's not hot enough and you'll heat it up.
But I can't heat it up any more than it being on a blech.
I understand that, but Hatmana is also, we're not going to, Hatmana is also on Shabbos for the first time.
Okay. But is it considered hatmana if it's just on top? Is my question.
I don't know about other persons. The Alter Rebbe holds that when it comes to Hatmana of something that is not Moisef Hevel, so then the main thing is the top. Because what you want is to insulate the heat from escaping, and the way you do that is by covering the top, because that's where the heat usually escapes. The heat rises. So that's why I'm saying that a towel would be usher, according to the Alter Rebbe.
But if it's on a blech, then it is Mosef Hevel, right?
I understand, but it's included. It's both really.
Okay.
Both. So it would seem to me. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% sure, but that's what it seems. On Shabbos?
It's also the Shabbos.
Mm-hmm. Right.
This is supposed to be used on Shabbos. One place to take it off, they also cover it on Shabbos.
Right. I don't really know the heter for that one. Although Rabbi Vosna holds that it's mutter.
Heter for what?
I know Rabbi Vosna holds it's mutter.
Cover. You just don't do it?
No, because last time he said that, but he never explained why.
What's mutter?
They have these for the Shabbos urns. They have these special things you buy to insulate them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I always thought that it's mamish davar moisef hevel. It should be because the heat of the urn is moisef hevel to the insulation. Davar moisef you can't do even before Shabbos.
But if it's part of the urn, then
not part of
no. But if it's a snugly fitting thing, then surely it can be considered a part of it.
No, it's not part of the urn.
If it's not on all the time.
I understand that by something that is one keli, like a thermos or something. You know what I'm saying? This is not. This is something you add later.
But it's a permanent fixture to it, isn't it?
It's not a permanent fixture to it. You zip it, you unzip it. If it gets dirty, you wash it. It's not a permanent fixture.
Oh, okay.
No, the heat of the urn causes this to add heat.
But the purpose doesn't not gonna get cold.
I understand, but nevertheless, the heat of the urn heats this up. So it becomes a moisef hevel.
What about like putting like a paper bag around it?
That is called moisef hevel.
That's what?
Coming from underneath, and there's a cover. That cover is moisef hevel. We said that. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was saying, if you put, I thought I saw somebody once put a paper bag over an urn. Is that Mosef Hebel?
I don't know. I don't know if it is, but if it is, it's a problem. Anyway, Rabbi Vosner holds it's okay. So you can ask him next week, hopefully.
Do we know when yet?
We do not. I asked him if he could do it Monday or Tuesday, but I didn't hear back from him yet. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about shaking off a garment. Shaking off a garment from dust.
If it's
What are the conditions?
if it's new,
black.
New, black,
you're back.
You care about it.
you care about it. Then it's also according to all opinions or according to some opinions?
According to Rambam, it's specifically little bits of thread, and according to I can't remember. Is it Rashi? It's little. It's dew specifically.
Correct. Who is strict about dust?
Is that Tosfos?
No, it's Rashi.
That's Rashi. Okay.
No, Rashi is the one who says it's also with dust. Rabbi Tam says it's talking about dew.
That's it. Dew.
Maisa, the Ramah says it's good to be machmer like Rashi. So yeah. So those are the conditions. How do you define new, by the way?
So there, the easiest definition is actually means brand new, but in practice it could apply to anything that say there are some who say anything that you look after.
Anything that looks new. Anything that looks new.
Yeah.
Some say to be strict even by our Shabbos clothes because we look after them. Yeah, Rabbi Yonasan Abishit said that. That's correct. Okay, so how does this apply? Not the one that's what? And not what?
Because it could be to someone who look like new, but for you it's already used. So
That's the machloket.
For someone else saying it's new, but in a way it's already used.
Right.
So it's subjective.
I don't know. Not sure about that. The Mishnah Berurah discusses it in the context of kepedas. All right. Do we go by the owner's kepeda or by the person who's cleaning it, by their kepeda? Mishnah Berurah suggested that you should go by the owners, but it's not 100% clear. He doesn't have a clear psak on that.
It's difficult because we're not in the owner's head, right?
Well, you could ask him.
Well, it can be also something with a little children.
You're not making it also. You're either cleaning it or you're not cleaning it. You're not making it also. Well, what's the idea of the Tosfos that says it's talking about dew? What does that mean? What's the problem with shaking dew off a garment?
That's making it wearable.
Kibbutz, correct. That's because
Do
towel.
other towel.
So because it's black and it's new, so the towel kind of ruins it. But if you shake it off, it's like you're washing it. What about shaking rain off a garment?
It depends. I'm not 100% sure. I think it depends on whether you're particular about it.
Some say that if you're not particular, you can. But others say, the Mishnah Berurah brings, others say, I forget who they are, that you should not shake rain off, even if you're not particular, because rain could ruin a garment, and we're afraid that you might shake it off with too much strength. You're never allowed to shake it so
That's
much
right.
that the liquid that's absorbed inside is going to come out. You would only allow to shake it lightly so that the rain that's on the surface will come off, but not inside. The plastic for sure not. Anything that doesn't absorb is no problem. But some say that it's hard to know, and therefore one should not shake off from rain. Okay, so tell me about taking off a piece of food. You're eating and some food fell onto your shirt.
Don't do it with water or liquid or baby wipe. That's the first thing.
No water, liquid, or baby wipe. What do you say?
Yeah,
That's just a start.
just clean only the top.
You can take off the top, not off the
You
top.
can't do a serious scratching or use a brush.
Taking off the food that fell. So we're saying no liquid at all. That is correct. That could be kibbutz d'oraisa. What about peeling it off if it's dry?
You wouldn't be able to put a napkin down.
If it's just coming off the surface,
One second. Putting a napkin down to absorb it,
Yeah.
you're saying? That's okay.
Even- it's,
You can't squeeze it out. You can't squeeze whatever is absorbed out. But if you,
Let's say this is the napkin.
yeah,
Fell on my knee. So I press it down. Get a little water. And throw it away.
but are you getting the water to be squeezed out of your pants? Is that what you're doing? Can't do that.
You squeeze out my pants.
I'm saying if it's absorbed in your pants and you're by pressing it down,
No, not press, not press.
Can't do that.
Just lay down. You said.
can't do that. You can't press it out.
Just put it. Just.
You can't press it out.
Can't press it down. Like
Can't press it down.
You gotta yourself put it and let it whatever absorb.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can do. So what about peeling off? Let's say it's dried already.
Cement.
Piece of ketchup or rice, whatever rice. Can you peel it off?
Is it
I
dry?
think you can.
Finger that's really clear. They say not to scratch all the way forward. Don't scratch inside because it's getting inside. Do it from the inside out.
Outside.
So those are
So we have a few things to point out over here. If you can peel it off and it does not leave a stain, then we have a machlokes. Because the Mishnah Berurah says if it's not going to leave a stain, it's only mutter if it doesn't have all the conditions that make it also to shake off
How
dust.
do you know, Rabbi?
Takshiv. If it's black and it's new and it bothers you, then you cannot peel off a piece that's not going to leave a stain. Because it's not less than dust. You understand?
So let's say that question for example.
Sometimes you don't know if it's stain or not.
Takes the dry cleaner, so according to the Chumrah,
Exactly. You would not be allowed to peel off a dried thing if it's not going to leave a stain. How do you know? I mean, for example, something's dry in such a way that you can just lift them up, like ketchup.
This one can be only on the new one.
I'm saying
But if it's not your, like.
it's not new,
maybe
then
it
it's
doesn't
okay.
leave a stain.
Then it's okay. Then it's okay. If it leaves a stain, on the other hand, the Mishnah Berurah says it's allowed because it's not a strong act of cleaning because it leaves a stain. As far as rubbing off that stain, that's what you were saying before. So you cannot rub it from the inside, right? You cannot rub it from the inside, but you can rub it from the outside. We said. I didn't exactly understand how, but whatever.
you asked the Rabbi asked
What did he say?
he said like a rebat.
Like what? Like what?
Like rebat.
Ribiat? To
Which,
do it.
was the opposite of what you said. I forgot what you said.
Right.
I forgot what the opposite was.
Right.
You said
Okay.
like it's to just possible this and the two outside touching each other.
Right. Just do it so it falls off, not to actually scrape it. Yeah. That's what, if you're saying that's what Rabbi Rosner said, then That's what we have to remember. I don't remember.
Who said that? Who said
That was Rabbi Yirmiyah. That was Rabbi Yirmiyah. Okay. Putting liquid on a garment that is not dirty. Water, let's talk about. Water.
Water in the garment?
Putting water on a garment that is not dirty. Kibbutz?
No, I mean,
On a clean garment. Is there an issue to put water on a clean garment?
I'm
Some
not sure,
say- some
Rabbi.
say
I don't
there's
think
no-
so.
There's a Xera.
What's Xera?
No wear clothing.
Why?
Shalom Yisrael.
Exactly. That's for sure. That's for sure. Anything that you're makbid on, that it shouldn't be wet, you shouldn't make it wet because you might squeeze it. But let's say you're not makbid on it.
What about
Unless it
smartut?
says something.
Right.
Smartut, Naki?
If it's something you're not makbid on, like a rag, so then we have machlekes. Some say that there is no kibbutz because it's clean. Others say no, that there is kibbutz even if it's clean. However, we can be makel if it's derech lichloch. And this is the opinion of most Rishonim. I think it's based on the derech lichloch. What's derech lichloch?
You get it dirty.
You can restate, yeah.
If it's considered that it's dirtying it instead of cleaning it. So for sure other liquids, not water. You know what I'm saying? But even water, if it's derech lichloch, like for example, you're drying your hands on it, that's derech lichloch. When you dry your hand on a garment, that doesn't clean the garment. You know what I'm saying?
It's water being.
I understand, but it's water with your hands, with the sweat of your hands. It's not.
Just clean your hands.
I understand. But if you use a hand towel to clean your hands 100 times, even to dry your hands 100 times, even though you washed your hands every single time before those 100 times, you're going to have to wash that towel. Correct or incorrect?
I don't know if I've ever done that.
You will ask your wife. I'll tell you. There's no question. So if it's derech lichloch after 100 times, and every one of those 100 times is a small lichloch. So that is derech lichloch, and that is another reason why it should be mutter. Okay, braiding hair. Is it deraisa derabanan?
The rice.
Deraisa? Really?
No, it's Rabbanan, but it's bonin. I don't. It's bonin.
It's actually machlokes
It's
tanaim.
kesher.
Rabbi Elazar says it's deraisa, but we pass on its own derabanan.
It's kesher.
Kosher? No. It's boina derabanan.
Adonai.
Boina derabanan. What about combing hair?
Oh.
That's a secretia.
Secretia of
And it's of and that's actually derisa as well, because you'll come to pull out the hair.
Where the big
Secretia,
rabbi,
correct.
where the rabbi put his hand and he stay over like that. Like,
Yeah. Arizal,
Right?
correct.
Sorry, what was that?
The Arizal apparently kept his hand in his beard once a whole Shabbos because he was afraid that he would take out a hair if he took it out. It's a hard story to understand, but that's what it says. Okay.
He just didn't want to shake someone's hand.
What about putting lipstick on?
So,
Definitely.
Rabbanan.
Rabbanan, it's,
Moving,
Yeah.
Other.
dying.
Dying.
The machik is deraisa derabanan. Deraisa. Dying is deraisa derabanan. Rabbanan. Dying on the skin because it's not lasting.
No, I thought that was the first one. What was the first one then?
The mareach is deraisa.
Oh, I thought it was.
Dying is derabanan.
Is it if it's on skin, it's also Rabbanan? It's
No.
gonna be also?
Lo shamati. I didn't hear that. I don't think so.
Either way, it's not.
Not that enough. Okay, what about putting on makeup
No,
for
it's
Shabbos? No problem. If you're a woman.
It's
Yes, on Shabbos.
asur, but I don't know if it's the right one.
It's a derabanan. Sevea. Sevea. Okay,
So what's the hijab?
so that's what's derabanan.
What's
So
the kosher makeup? What does it do? It's loose
the
powder?
kosher makeup is loose powder and it's not lasting at all. Maybe it's so unimportant it's not even as a derabanan.
What's the difference between loose powder and tight
it's like a
powder?
blush, it's like a,
It's just like a dye? Or-
No, I don't mean tight powder. I mean a powder that does not make a long-lasting change in the color.
Does that mean that powder makeup is actually okay?
I don't know.
If
I
they
don't
call
know.
it kosher for Shabbat, it's not cheap. Exactly. Once they put that sticker on.
I don't know what it means exactly, but I've seen it said that it can't be oil-based. If it's oil-based, then there's oil in the powder that makes it stick long. But I don't know exactly what that means. But
There's already sense, but not doing it at all.
there are poskim that are not to put makeup on at all. Yeah, on Shabbos. Yeah,
But if women aren't going to listen to you, then don't say. It's better not to say anything to them.
that's also true. That's also true. Okay, Rabbi Isai. So much to talk about. Trapping a fly is also deraisa derabanan.
Oh, the Rav made it on purpose then on mold? Did the Rav make his mold?
Yeah, on purpose.
Oh, so these are the.
I thought those are things you could focus on. Yeah, yeah. Not that the others are not important. Derabanan, correct, because a fly is not something that is normally trapped. What about trapping a bear to prevent it from hurting a person? Allowed. What about killing?
You're allowed.
Wanted to kill.
You're allowed. If its line is coming to.
What did it kill him?
It depends on the situation. You would kill it.
Correct. What about an animal that may or may not be dangerous and it's not running after you? Snake, you don't know. Some snakes are dangerous, some snakes are not.
So
And it's not running after you.
I think you can, if there's a vulnerable person around, you definitely can. So if there's a child, for example, you definitely can.
Sure.
Even if it's not running after you?
Oh, he said it's wrong.
No, it's not.
If it's not.
It might not be played.
You
You
know,
don't know. You're not a snake expert. You just know snakes.
Lamaisa, if I'm not mistaken, this was a dependent on the question of malacha shein tzarich legufa, chayiv or not. Malacha shein tzarich legufa means what?
You don't need what you're actually doing. You need
The end result.
the opposite.
You don't need the object.
Exactly. You don't need the object. So over here, you're going to kill the animal. You don't need the animal, right? You just don't want it to hurt you. So the Rambam says malacha shein tzarich legufa is chayiv. Most Rishonim say it's not chayiv, it's derabanan. So if you hold it's derabanan, then you could be mekel in this case, even though it's a suffix and it's not running after you, but it's only derabanan. So can you
I
make?
think what we
1 second. The same thing is even if it's not a lethal animal, but it's a dangerous animal, it could cause serious bodily harm. According to other Rishonim, you could kill it. As Issa derabanan, the Chacham were mekel, and according to the Rambam, you cannot. Sorry.
we said this about wasps, that somebody might be allergic to it, and if it's making people uncomfortable, then it might be better not to kill it, but you could kill it if needed. And if there's a small child, then you can definitely do it. Or if you know someone is allergic, then there's no question.
If you know somebody's allergic, definitely there's no question. I don't remember discussing it in a case where you don't know
Like if
somebody's allergic or not.
Zika.
Correct. Yes.
I think we saw that if it, I can't remember. I think we learned if it's making someone uncomfortable and they're scared of it. But I remember that. I don't remember the source.
I don't remember.
He brought it to Shabbos that says, you're allowed something for kids. If it's maybe remind yourself.
What Rafal says you brought a Shmir Shabbos about this case.
Oh yes, I did.
How to be? What did he say?
Yes, I think that's what I'm maybe what I'm quoting. I'll tell you in a second.
Very good.
If you continue, I'll tell you. It might take me 30 seconds.
Good question. What's the answer?
Shchita?
Shechita with non-kosher animals. Deraisa d'Rabbanan.
Probably do it.
Shabbos.
If you want them for their skin, then it's derisa.
It's about the natilas neshama. It's about the taking the life. It's not the shechita per se. And that's why, exactly. That's why even if you just take out blood of an animal, even if you just make a black and blue mark, that's not shechita by any stretch of the imagination, but it's natilas neshama. It's taking the life out of that particular area, and that's also deraisa.
How about deraisa to kill the septic animal?
Because it's a malacha shetzach l'gufa. Because you have you don't need the animal. In other words, to be chayav, actually, for shechting the non-kosher animal, you have to have a use for the animal. You want to feed it to your other animals, or you want to use it for your scientific research or whatever. And in terms of drawing blood, you would have to need that blood for your, I don't know what. But if not, then it's a malacha shetzach l'gufa. That would not be a deraisa, sorry. Yeah.
Horeg Gamal is the Rishonim or is the Gemara?
No.
Made up?
I didn't make it up, but I don't think it's in the Rishonim either. I think it's in the Achronim.
It's not.
It's not in the Gemara, no.
Perhaps the lesson.
Really?
Yeah, it doesn't sound like a Gemara, but it probably sounds famous.
Sounds famous, but I don't remember it from the Gemara. I retract it if I said it. Okay. So, with 2 minutes to go, what is the machlekes between the Rambam and the Rosh about tying knots on Shabbos?
If it's for good, or
Temporary.
For good. Oh, for good, yeah.
Temporary.
For good.
For good is deraisa,
yes.
according to whom?
All of it.
Exactly. The Rosh says all we care about is if it's permanent. The Rambam says that it has to be a ma'aseh, it has to be a professional knot in order to be chayav. So is there a chumrah of the Rambam or is it only a kula? What is the chumrah according to the Rambam?
If it's a ma'aseh, not permanent.
Exactly.
Probably intended.
No. If it's a professional knot, even if it's not permanent, even if it's definitely temporary, but the very fact that it's a professional knot should be also.
Professional knot.
Is also according to the Rambam.
That's right.
Correct.
That's on the book.
We passing like the Rambam. I mean, we're machmer like the Rambam.
It's a ma'aseh one, but it's temporary.
Right.
Temporary or permanent, you know.
Yes. Okay, we're going to stop here and we're going to continue with the test. Mitzvah Hashem.
Tomorrow, Rabbi.
What's tomorrow?
Study here.
You didn't give us an all, but
Let me call Rav Wosner before we daven Ma'ariv, in case he has time now.
You pray, Rabbi,
I didn't daven
It says,
Ma'ariv.
has even a wasp when in the vicinity of a child, and specific types of insects where there's a risk that they may be the carriers of a dangerous, where they may be the carriers of a dangerous disease.
Then he actually knows the whole.
Are those Rav Wosner there, please? What time can I call back? Okay, thank you very much.
was that in
Okay.
definitely marked too? That's
So when is that?
I couldn't get through again, but I'm going to try. The class has requested Monday or Tuesday, but we're going to be out. Right? So
Okay. So what? So yeah, so even a wasp in the vicinity of a child.
Yeah.
Specific types of insects where there's a risk they may be carriers of disease. Even if it's still far away from a human, even if it's not pursuing anyone, even if it's trying to escape. But if it is something that people are afraid of, you can kill it in a way that it's better that they be caught You can kill it if it doesn't look like you're killing it. For example, stepping on it when it happens to be on the floor. But other people mustn't realize that that's your intention, because otherwise they might think the wrong thing. And this is even if it's making people uncomfortable or afraid. And when they're pursuing someone, and it's not possible to catch them, you may kill them even in the normal way. So a non-lethal thing that is coming at you, you may kill. A lethal thing, or in the vicinity of a child, you can kill even if it's trying to get away.
Very
According
good.
to Shabbos Kol Chasa.
Yeah, no, that sounds correct. According to Alter Rebbe as well. Very good. Thank you. I'll post on the chat as soon as I get to Rebbe Vosner. It's a shame.
Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you. Have a good night.